Hello and welcome to the Car Care channel. So in today's video, folks, we're going to take a look at some scan tools. These are more professional grade scan tools because of their price. We're going to take a look at some pros, some cons, some recommendations. We're going to start from something as low priced as the Xtool D8 and we're going to go all the way up to the sweet Snap-on Apollo D9 right after this. A small overview about the classification of scan tools, things that I looked at during my testing of all of these. The first thing is how fast they are. Professionals, we need something fast because if we need something slow, we would go to the OEM scan tools, which are plenty slow. The second thing is convenience. Are they wireless? Are they wired? Wireless is the best because you connect to the car, now you can go underneath it, you can do testing. That gives you flexibility versus a wired connection. The third thing is features. And at this price level, I'm going to be very harsh on features because I expect these scan tools to be able to do everything, especially the very expensive ones. And the last thing we're going to look at is overall value. Do they justify their price? And more importantly for you, what features are you looking for? Because you could end up buying one that is more expensive than another and not really get your value out of it because of the higher price equals more features that you actually don't need. So having said that, let's start checking out the first scan tool. Let's start with the first scan tool, Topdon Phoenix Plus. This is their high-end scan tool, and the first impressions are always important, at least with me. I am OCD. The case, very high quality case. This will serve well in a professional environment where this thing will get thrown around left and right. That's just how things work with mechanics. Let's open the case. The first thing you notice is this is a very nice case. Scan tool is nice and secure. Everything is, you have these compartments here for all your accessories, which there are a lot with this. You got all your different connections. Very nice. But let's talk about, we could be here for 3 days talking about every little feature of this scan tool, but let's talk about the highlights before we actually hook it up to the car and check it out. The first thing is, it's wireless. You just have this little wireless dongle. You connect to the car and it's wireless. And the best part about that, usually wireless scan tools, they lose speed. It is actually pretty fast, as you'll see in a little bit. The other highlight is, it might not be as much, but still, if you're going at this price point, everything matters. This can do OBD1. There's a bunch of these different adapters that it comes with. There is many of them. I'll put a picture in the screen here so you can see all the adapters. And also you have a power adapter that goes straight to the battery. Because remember, you're connecting wirelessly. Unlike the wired ones, you can't charge the scan tool itself, so you always need it charged. If you're in a cringe and you forgot to charge it, nice that they supply you with this so you can actually connect it, and you can also use a cigarette lighter one. I've never used this one. I don't trust the cigarette lighters for a big behemoth scan tool like that. You want a steady source. That's just my personal opinion. Comes with a lot of accessories. This scan tool has a very nice stand here, of course, because you're going to be using this a lot off the car. So one thing that is a giant highlight, let's go over everything because we kind of scattered it. Wireless, OBD1 capabilities, but the highlight of this over some of the others, especially the one that's coming after it, this has proprietary ADAS technology. And if you're wondering what that is, in case someone who's DIY watching this, all these safety features, your radar sensors, your cruise control, adaptive cruise control, your lane keep assist, the 360 all of these systems, the safety system, blind spot, they have calibrations. And you can use the OEM scan tool to do that, but the aftermarket world, you can't have the adapters and the reflectors for every single make and model. This company actually has an accessory with this. When I say accessory, I mean a $10,000 accessory, but that's a normal price actually on the lower side, To be able to do these calibrations for every make and model, that is a huge plus for this one, because you can have a system. If you're a shop that does a lot of these calibrations, this actually has a capability. And lastly, before the test, this comes with 2 years free updates, and after that is $545 a year for the updates. And just a note on all of these scan tools, except the Snap-on, that one is a little different. When you get the free updates, let's say we are in 2022, this comes with free 2-year updates. You're in 2024, now you have to pay for the updates. The scan tool will still work up to 24. So when you go into 25 models, it won't recognize them because you did not get the updated software for these models. That's what that means. So I just wanted to clarify, so you don't actually have to pay for the update as long as you're not wanting to use the latest and the greatest model years. Just want to clarify that. Let's hook this up to the car and just do a general quick tour about it. Let's look at the scan tool real quick and we'll do a quick speed test. This is wireless, so we're sitting outside the car. This is a 2022 Toyota Camry Hybrid behind me, my personal car. So as soon as you open it, you have ADAS. That is if you want to use that $10,000 behemoth. But for us, we're going to go intelligent diagnostics. But before we do that, local diagnostics, if you want to choose the make and model, and this does a lot more than Toyota. On the screen here, you can see all the makes and models that it can actually communicate with. I'll scroll through them so you can see all the makes and models that it actually supports. Now, let's go back to intelligent diagnostics. It's going to make that strange sound to connect. It identified my car. The best part is it read a 2022. We are filming this toward the end of January. So there it is. Let's go local diagnostics. So it's going to ask you what kind of connection are you using. We're going to go 16-pin DLC. That's the OBD2 connector. Okay. Okay. Now it's going to do a full scan. It's going to check everything in the car. Now that we are here, you can hit Smart Scan. It'll scan through every single computer and get you all the codes and all the information. But we're going to do a small test to see what kind of latency does this wireless connection have. So we're going to go to System List. I want to find my driver's door motor. We're going to roll down the window. Driver's door motor. Of course, the scan tool has bi-directional control. It has everything, has special functions. It does everything at this price point. But we're going to want to see how the latency is. You can see the window behind me. We're not monitoring data. So now we're going to put the window down. Here's the window. That is pretty quick. So we're going to hit up. Window's going up. That is extremely fast. That is very fast, and I'm very actually impressed by the speed of the scan tool. The wireless connection doesn't seem to affect the speed of communication. Folks, we're not going to go any further in this scan tool. This can do everything. Basically exactly the same as the OEM scan tool, program keys, all the functions that you need, which it should at this price point. Let's talk about the next scan tool, which is the ThinkCar Thinktool Pro. I don't know why they need to do the double name. There are some question marks about this one, but let's go through it because the price is actually worth it. You notice something, the case. It's very nice, but I am finding a hard time giving them credit because it's exactly the same case as the Topdon. And when I contacted this company and Topdon, tell them, hey, why is your case exactly the same as your competitor? Topdon immediately replied, oh yeah, we did do the same R&D for the case, for some of the hardware and the software, so we can save on some money basically on R&D. This company, no, we do not have anything to do with Topdon. Don't know what was that about. It's not a state secret. That's okay. If you live across the street with your neighbor and you want to do something together, there's no problem with that because your price is different, your tool is different. Anyhow, things are exactly the same as the top-down. Here's that scan tool, same stand. Screen is smaller and the hardware seems very similar, and you'll see the software in a little bit, but same thing, wireless, same OBD2 connectors, same nice storage thing here with a bunch of connectors, the same connect to the battery and the power outlet and all this stuff. You could almost think you're looking at the same scan tool, so I'm not going to waste your time too much. Here is the bottom line on this scan tool. This scan tool is exactly the same as the top-down, except no ADAS, smaller screen, and different software update prices, which are $499 for commercial vehicles and $399 for passenger vehicles. I don't know why it's separate. Let's say if you want to get everything, it's $500. Slightly cheaper than the top-down, but again, the top-down has that ADAS, bigger screen. This has a smaller screen, still wireless, still OBD1, pretty much the same case, the same construction, which is good. I just don't like that the company's hesitancy to say, oh yeah, we share some R&D together. And the other thing is the responsiveness on the customer service side of things on this company, a little on the slower side. Something I didn't like, when you go to ThinkCar.com or whatever their website is, you don't really see this model. You see it everywhere and say ThinkCar, all this, but you don't see this exact model. Don't know if it's a glitch with the website, whatnot, but scan tool is good. So let's connect it to the car and take a look at it real quick. Again, on the ThinkCar, things are extremely familiar. I mean, the thing looks exactly the same, just different colors, maybe a few different wording. But the main thing is we don't have ADAS here. So that's one feature that this doesn't have. So let's go through diagnostics here. It's called a little bit different. Let me show you the list of manufacturers that it supports. Pretty similar to the other one. Here's that. Then let's go auto search, which is similar to the other one, and even the same annoying sound when it's connecting. Again, 16-pin Toyota. One thing I will say while this is connecting, this connection time is a little longer than usual. And I skipped it on the top down, we didn't say anything about it, but it was exactly the same. They did take a little bit of time to actually establish the first communication to the car. Perhaps this is because of the wireless connection. But again, this car has a lot of modules. Even the OEM scan tool, if the car has less modules, it's going to communicate much faster. So that's one thing, I guess, the downside of the wireless connection, that you do lose a little bit of that snappy connection. When you hit connect, boom, 5 seconds later, we're connected. It just takes a little bit of going back and forth here to find all the modules. We are here. Things are starting to get a little bit different than the other one. The other one shows you that big tree that is nice. This one doesn't. You can go health report, it'll check everything, engine check. But let's go to system selection because we want to do the same test to see if there's any difference in the latency here. This breaks it down differently, and you're noticing powertrain, chassis, body. This is actually similar to the OEM scan tool. So let's go to the driver's door motor. We're going to try to activate the same thing. Again, this does everything. Special functions, activations, bi-directional. It better at this price point. Power window. Let's see the latency. We don't want to monitor data. We're going to go down. Okay, that is actually instantaneous and exactly the same as the other one. So this is a nice scan tool. I like it. Kind of questionable about the company and their communication, but for a lower price than the other one, I think this is a good scan tool if you don't need the ADAS functions, because the price difference between this and the top-down all of a sudden makes this look better if you don't need the ADAS. Then we have the Xtool D8. This one I've actually reviewed before, so we're going to glance through it real quick so you know the details in case you're watching for the first time. I will leave the link for the other video where we reviewed this extensively in the description of this video. Here's how that scan tool looks like. Here's that. It does have a leg to stand up. Not as intuitive as the other model's leg, but it is a wired connection and just comes with this power brick and a USB cable. Folks, this is not wireless. That's the first difference than the other two. This does not do OBD1. The other two does. But this one is also cheaper. So this is where it comes down to, is having a wireless connection a deal breaker for you? Because if it's not, this is as capable. This does not do the ADAS separately on their own proprietary reflectors and everything like the top-down, but this one is very powerful. And for its price, it is very professional grade. And there's more value with this one actually compared to the other ones. This comes with 3 years of free updates, and then the updates are $199 a year. So now the savings, the little compromise with no OBD1 and the wired connection start to make themselves up with the price of the updates. This scan tool, in case you watch my videos, also have a little brother, the D7. This is a D8. The D7 potentially is not for professional use. It is missing some of the main features like special functions, like some of the customization abilities, but this is where this line of scan tools starts to enter the professional grade scan tool, where you can actually use it to power a shop. This is the D8. I've already done a video on it, so I don't want to take your time. If you want, interested in this one, check out that video. But I'm just going to show you the manufacturers that it supports. Here's the full list. This was Europe, here's Asia, America, and then China and Australia. And last, and definitely not least, because I like to save the best for last, the sweet Snap-on Apollo D9. Folks, having this scan tool with the rest of them is not a fair comparison, because Snap-on, one tiny little department in the company of Snap-on, is larger than all of these other companies combined, every single department. However, this is why I included this in the test. So you can really see what makes this extremely expensive scan tool better or not really better. This is so you can get a picture, or whether you should look at the big boys or look at the small guys that are actually pretty capable. This is extremely expensive on every level. This is not just professional grade, this is real high level professional grade. And the capabilities of this are a lot more than the others, but it comes at a hefty price. First, the purchase price of this, but more importantly, the updates. The updates are included for 1 year, very short year, and then they are a whopping $960 a year. And if you don't update it and you don't have an actual account and things are going with this, you will lose a lot of the functionality. Basically, this scan tool all of a sudden becomes exactly the same as the other ones if you don't update it. This can do everything. However, there's actually limitations to this, believe it or not. The first thing is, it is not wireless. Because it could do so much, they need it to be wired connection. You need to go with the upper trim models, which cost even a bigger fortune, to become wireless. This also does not have a scope. I wanted to choose a model that was fairly comparable to the other ones, not one with a scope. You can get a scope aftermarket, separate. You don't really need to spend a fortune unless you want to bundle them. But this does not have an oscilloscope, which is fair game to compare it to the other ones, even though it's still not. Some of the downsides of this are no wireless connection and limited OBD1 connector, unless you want to spend another small fortune to buy all the different adapters and all the stuff. And we actually don't have the box for this. I got this from my Snap-on dealer. It's a demo unit. He just gave it to me and told me, do whatever you want and bring it back to me in a week. Something about the Snap-on is that blows the other into the Middle Ages is their customer support. This is a serious company. These folks don't play around. They're US based, made in the US, supported in the US. Everything is US based, even though Top Down does have a tiny little branch, small little office in New Jersey probably, but this is made in the good old USA. Snap-on's been around for over 100 years. There's no playing around here. This is a very strong company that supports this. Having said that, this is all about the features. Let's go connect it to the car and we'll take a look around, see what's this one is all about. Let's look at the Snap-on scan tool. This one can't record the screen, so we're gonna go scanner. Here is the list of manufacturers that it supports. So we're gonna go Toyota. I tried the automatic ID. Unfortunately, this one is still updating and it's gonna take forever to update. So we're gonna go manual ID. It doesn't go 2022 yet. We're gonna go 2021. It's the same model as the 2022. I'm gonna go Camry, hybrid. Okay. So here we are at everything. It breaks it down in their own way. This is all proprietary software on the Snap-on scan tool here. So let's do something different with the Snap-on scan tool because it does do the test very quick because it's wired. But I purposely disconnected the mass airflow on this car. It set a bunch of codes. I want to show you how different. It doesn't just show you the code and that's it. Let's go to engine and codes. So we have two codes because I unplugged the mass airflow. Usually the other scan tools, they'll show you the code, show you what it means, and that's it. But if you click on this one, this is really cool. Now, it didn't find much information for this, but this is intelligent diagnostics. What this is going to do is give you online information about the code. So it's telling you top repair data not available for the selected codes. Of course, this is a new car, it doesn't have enough data. But if you were looking at an older car that has a problem pattern, a common problem, and the scan tool saves your data and looks at the repairs, it's going to actually show you a recommended repair in case there's a known common problem with this specific code and this specific car. Something else that it's going to do, it's going to show you TSBs. This is a huge deal, folks, because normally in the other scan tools, you get the code, you have to go get a subscription for all data, especially in the aftermarket world, all data, Mitchell, whatever the information system you have, or in the case of a dealership, we have, our internal diagnostic program that we have to go look for TSBs for the code. This shows you right away. We did not find any code-related bulletins, so you're good. And it gives you more and more stuff. Now the Sure Track, I do not have a subscription to, but this is another online thing that'll show you real fixes, troubleshooter, and top repair chart. This is the guided diagnostics, which it will walk you through the diagnostic in case you don't have access to the repair manual. Because some of these codes, folks, especially not really in German cars, but German cars, the scan tool will walk you through it. That's a normal thing. But in Toyota, Nissan, Honda, all of these, they don't have guided diagnostics. You just get the code, get a trouble chart, and you're on your own. You just follow the chart and hope for the best. But Snap-on actually gives you that chart and it guides you through it step by step. Check this, check that, enter the values. If you're good, okay, let's move on to the next thing. It just makes diagnostics easier and more organized, and this is the value. This is not just a scan tool. This does so much more than just a scan tool. That's why the price is like that. And of course, Snap-on, they are well connected in the industry. I mean, Snap-on makes a lot for the manufacturers, so they will give them access to stuff that you normally don't see in any other scan tools. Let's summarize everything before we wrap up the video. If you want a scan tool that is basic, quick, easy to use, and on the budget side, doesn't have all the fancy features like wireless, guided diagnostics, and all this craziness and OBD1, the D8 is your best bang for the buck because the thing is cheap to update, cheap to own, simple, honest to God, it just works really, really well. And it does all the basic functions that you need and even advanced functions that you need in a day-to-day typical automotive repair. If you need some of the advanced features, but you don't want everything, you want the wireless is a big deal, you want a quick, good scan tool that is still somewhat on a budget side and not the latest and the greatest, the ThinkCar Thinktool Pro seems to be a good option. If you want something that is more future-proof with ADAS, maybe one day you will add that functionality to your shop, that's how the automotive industry is going, the top-down is something really nice. It has a really big screen, very interactive software that it has. The updates are a little bit on the expensive side as we get into the top-down, but I feel like it's future-proof and it has all the features, has OBD1, has wireless, has that big screen, has a really good battery life, and seems to be well made. Overall, even the carrying case, including everything, the whole package. And if you want just simply money is not a problem, or you've had something similar to these three and you want the absolute best and you're willing to pay for it, don't look further than Snap-on. They really make good scan tools. These scan tools are more than these. See, the main difference between these three and this one is these three are just two-way scan tools. They can do everything offline. They can communicate, activate everything, do everything, customize settings, everything. But they can't do the functions that this one does, like the guided diagnostics, like all the added stuff. This basically takes over not just a scan tool, it gives you a full diagnostics tool set. These do not have that. These are just scan tools. This is a lot more than just a scan tool. But one thing about this specific scan tool, as much as I love it and I'm really enjoying having it and checking it out because this is a very expensive scan tool, one thing I will say, if you're going to spend this kind of money on a scan tool, get one with an oscilloscope. It's going to be a lot more expensive, but at least you can justify it. You're getting two tools in one and you have just one big powerhouse of diagnostics. Something you can't get with these, of course, but you can get with a different model of Snap-on. Perhaps the wireless one will be nice, but that's how the Apollo D9 is. It's wired. And folks, just to answer some of your questions, the one question that kept popping up when I did the previous scan tool reviews, what about Autel? What do I think of Autel? Well, I've never used an Autel scan tool. I've seen one here and there, but never really had one to extensively test it. So just like I emailed some of these companies to get their tools for the review, I emailed Autel, and here's the response I got. I guess they are not interested in me reviewing their scan tool, so we're gonna leave it at that. They seem to have good scan tools, but I can't really with good conscience without me testing them tell you which model is which, are they good value, what not. Scan tools are plentiful, and these are the small example of scan tools that I was able to test and give you my feedback. Some of these companies gave me a discount code, not Snap-on. Some of them didn't, they already have a discounted number. I will leave all the information that I have and any discount codes that I'm able to get for you if you're interested to buy one in the description of this video, along with the review of this one, a bit of a more extensive review of the D8, and if you're DIY and you watch this video this long, the D7 was actually a good option and cheaper than all of these, especially this one. I will leave the link for the D7 as well. I hope this video was helpful and informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some of my other videos. And until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.